Good morning, St. Francis. Good morning, people of God. It is Monday, the 20th day of February, 2023, Monday of the 7th week of the year, the 7th week in Ordinary Time. It is less than 48 hours until the season of Lent begins, the great, wonderful season of Lent begins. These last 2 days of Winter Ordinary Time, and kind of our half week of the 7th week of the year, coming to you this morning from the front of the Friary Rectory. It is a very quiet day because it is also President's Day, in which we honor all the presidents, I guess, everybody who's dead, maybe, or something like that, because it's kind of close to Washington's birthday. It's a little ways from Lincoln's birthday, and they always used to be separate birthdays. Parking lot is kind of empty, although there are a lot of cars over there. I gotta go find out what's going on. I think everything was happening today. Anyway, interesting fun fact. It is not by design whatsoever, but kind of just by chance in some ways, that the celebration of President's Day in the United States, coming close to Washington's birthday in this kind of last week almost of February, runs close to an ancient Roman festival, pre-Christian festival called the Parentalia, which was a festival to honor one's familial ancestors. Again, the word parents coming from Parentalia. And it's the 22nd of February, which for us in the Christian calendar becomes the chair of the Apostle Peter. We celebrate somebody's chair. It's kind of a nice thing to do. This year it will be Ash Wednesday, so we don't celebrate the chair of Peter, we celebrate Ash Wednesday. But the whole idea was that it was celebrating ancestors, and so President's Day celebrating political ancestors, I guess, is sort of an interesting coincidence, not by design, not by any kind of purpose, but the fact that you have this ancient Roman festival, and then you have the President's Day here in the United States only. Elsewhere, it's the chair of Peter if it's a Christian country, or it'll be Ash Wednesday this year. So just talk about that at dinner. In any event, we moved from Genesis into a couple of the wisdom books. I think we had Proverbs on Saturday, but we have Sirach today. And the wonderful thing about Sirach is that it tells us that wisdom is from God, and that wisdom is meant to be shared. Wisdom is not something that one keeps for oneself, or something that one manipulates, or something one uses for one's own selfish gain. That for wisdom to be truly wisdom, it has to be something that enriches life, and that enriches the lives of others. That it brings forth greater knowledge of oneself, of this great and wonderful world that God has created and given to us to make something out of. It's a beautiful passage from Sirach for us to consider the fact that each of us are given a share in what wisdom is. And so each of us possesses a wisdom, even though we may not think that we are wise. Each of us possesses something that God asks us to put to use so that the world can more readily see God's hand in it. And for us as Christians, more readily see the reign of God at work in our midst. In today's gospel, Jesus has to get rid of a demon. There's so many demons in Mark's gospel, it's ridiculous. But Jesus has to get rid of a demon. Actually, Saturday's reading was the Transfiguration, which was kind of interesting because we will see that on the second Sunday of Lent, as we do every year. But we get a glimpse of it, this year in the way the lectionary is laid out this past Saturday. But we don't have Saturday here at St. Francis, so don't do a reflection usually. Saturday Mass, we always have Saturday. But the thing is, they're coming down from the mountain today, and they meet a man and his family who are dealing with this poor little boy who's got a demon all over the place, and he throws himself into fire, and he foams at the mouth, and he growls and everything else like that, and they don't know what to do, and they're wondering if Jesus can help. And Jesus gets a little bit annoyed because he's like, again, we're into chapter 6, I think, of Mark's gospel, and they know what he's about. They've not just heard of him, they may have seen even what he can do, and they still doubt that he can do anything about this this situation with this poor child and this demon and whatever. And so Jesus kind of gets a little bit offended, and he balks at this. And then Jesus, does, and everybody keeps trying to get rid of the demon. Nothing seems to work. And then Jesus finally does, and the demon leaves the boy. It's all very supernaturally fantastic. And kind of Hollywood have a heyday, probably trying to envision this for us to see on the screen. But then Jesus basically, it's interesting. He takes him by the hand once the demon has been expelled. Just takes him up by the hand because the kid's been writhing on the ground, and walks him into the house. Just like anything else. He's back and he's done, and then the apostles again say, why couldn't they, the people or even the apostles themselves, the family, get rid of this demon? Because I guess they asked to allow the high priests of Judaism, and they couldn't do anything either. And Jesus says, this one can only be cast out by prayer. And that's it. again, so what does that mean? Because it's, the thing is, prayer is always used, in a rite of exorcism, although rites of exorcism as we think they are rare, if at all. But the thing is, the sense in which perhaps incantations or some kind of other natural remedy or something like that, which is trying to help this child, was not working. But it was the recognition of God as a God who frees us from what makes us less than who and what we are. A God who understands our difficulties, our trials, our sufferings, our pains, our burdens. This is a God who lifts all of that from us. Does God have to be coaxed into doing this? No, because Jesus' own offense at them wondering if Jesus can do this basically demonstrates, that God has this power, and it's there for the taking. But we sometimes don't invest enough in our belief in that. Again, where wisdom is put to use is knowing that our God can do all things, can help us in all things, can lead us into that life that is worth living, that life that enables us to see life in its fullest, in all its wonder, in all its glory. And may the Lord give you his peace.